Dogs and cats living together. Vegetarian. Wow! Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig
it? What's up, you cinema psychos, and welcome back to the Lucid Nightmare. I'm your host as always, Jay Schatzer, and today, well, got a sick and twisted flick lined up for us. It is Jeff Franco's 1981, really strange flick. It is Bloody Moon. And this one is a really weird slasher kind of Giallo kind of film. And yeah, it's just kind of unexplainable. So let's just jump right into this weirdo and see what we got. Here is Bloody Moon. Bloody Moon is a sick and twisted Spanish-German slasher-style Giallo flick, with an added dose of weirdness and a heavy helping of brutality that sometimes goes a little bonkers. Drenched in oddball style and drowning in overacting splendor, the production is as cheesy as it is brutal, showcasing all of the things that we absolutely love about off-the-wall 80s horror cinema. Strange, obtuse, and excessively violent, Bloody Moon is a wild experience that is total trash through and through. The film is centered around a group of students in Spain at a newly formed university called Europe's International Youth Club Boarding School of Language, run by a sly and sophisticated stud named Alvaro. After the arrival of a deformed and troubled young man named Miguel, who has just been released from the sanitarium by his beautiful sister Manuela, the female students begin to be picked off one by one in horrible and grisly ways, yet no one can figure out who the killer is. Is it Miguel, still troubled by his manic past, or is there something else afoot at the picturesque Spanish resort of Costa del Sol? The cast of Bloody Moon is as unusual as the premise of this little-known slasher flick. From ditzy boy-crazed students to extremely suspicious weirdos, the production is jammed to the gills with red herrings and oddball loonies, all chewing up the scenery and dying to take center stage. The main players of this morbidly demented piece are Alexander Wachter as Miguel, the freaky deformed weirdo who loves the ladies and has an insatiable appetite for violence. Nadja Gurganov as Manuela, Miguel's sexy sister and sensationally twisted freak of the week. Christopher Moosebrother as Alvaro, a suave, perm-haired everyman who runs the new language school with an iron fist. Olivia Pascal as Angela, a gorgeous and impressionable student who is constantly losing her shit at the drop of a hat. And finally, Peter Exocostas as Antonio, the hunky heartthrob gardener and expert tennis ace and lover, who the girls just can't seem to get enough of. Laughably manic and extremely over the top in the acting department, the cast of Bloody Moon is an absolute hoot of silliness. The random weirdness and feverishly frantic freakouts are aplenty with this cast, and each individual gives it their all in cranking up the energy of this obscure flick and propelling it into totally bizarre cinematic territory. Plainly said, if you love overacting in your cheesy horror flicks, then these performances should not disappoint in the slightest. Aside from the cast, the true appeal of this wicked 80s production is the wild premise, the abhorrent execution, and the sheer brutality of the picture. From epic decapitations to sinisterly silly sequences, the movie is chock full of gory goodness and oddball moments that are guaranteed to tickle you with delight. The practical effects of the picture are simply fantastically low budget and ridiculously unbelievable, but that's the charm of this off-kilter production. It's rude and crude, and especially messy, matching the sheer madness of the plot to complete perfection, and pairing nicely with the manic personalities of all involved. It's a cinematic experience that isn't easily summarized, yet the general takeaway from the picture is complete and utter madness. Schizophrenic in nature and entirely unhinged, it's a completely fascinating production to say the least, and one that genuinely feels a little off and touched in the head. If you love crazy 80s flicks with a ton of gore and a stupefying amount of oddball characters, then I highly recommend hunting this masterfully weird slasher flick out. It's an unusual one to say the least, and one that doesn't hold back from its weird subject matter and bizarre premise. In the end, Bloody Moon is a warped and highly unusual Giallo-style slasher production, one that wears its weirdness on its sleeve, and wholly and utterly thrills with bloody reckless abandon. And there you have it, weirdos! That is just the absolutely strange and completely bizarre Giallo slasher flick, Bloody Moon. Jess Franco is a bad man, and from what you see in this movie, you can see why. The guy is out of his goddamn mind. But that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed that one, and I hope you like what I'm doing here. If you do, please like and subscribe. And if you have time, leave a comment below because I'd love to hear from you. But until then, I will see you all at the next movie review. Take care.